are doing very well, and we are again waiting for the online education, which has been going on since the lockdown. Again, a very good morning, and we are here to study Science Part 1, Standard 9, and you have come to know about me, that is myself, Pathan Arifa Khatun, teacher from Worli CFS English Municipal Secondary School. And as you all know, yesterday we have started with the chapter 13, part 1, Science Standard 9. The chapter's name is Carbon, an Important Element. And yesterday also we have studied about carbon, its occurrence, some of its properties, then its crystalline state, that was the diamond. So, as I told you yesterday only, the crystalline form of carbon, actually carbon occur in nature in two states. So that states are free state and combined state. Free state is again has three forms, like diamond, graphite, fullerene. Actually, free state has been divided into two parts, or it is having sub two types, that is crystalline form and non-crystalline. So we were studying yesterday crystalline forms, and the first one we have come across was diamond. We have studied about diamond, its arrangement of atoms, its shape, its melting point, its structural formula, structural formula, structural formula, then its uses. And I told you the structural formula uses, they are important. They can be asked for the your exam. So uses, I told you about uses of diamond. Okay, the very easiest one is that diamonds are used in ornaments and jewelry. You will get 1 mark. Diamonds are used in eye surgery. Diamonds are also used in rock drilling machines. Diamonds are also used for making window panes of satellites to prevent from harmful radiations. So these were the some of the properties, uses, structure of diamond. Since diamond is a crystalline, one of the crystalline form, and it's fall under crystalline form because it has a perfect shape. It has a perfect shape, and it is very, very hard. Diamond is very hard, the hardest substance found in nature. It has a very high melting point, 3500 degrees Celsius. Very high melting point as well as very high boiling point too. So this was about diamond. I hope you could see another crystalline form, that is the second one, is the graphite. Can you see graphite? Yes. And the third one is the fullerene. But before moving to fullerene, we will first study graphite. Okay, so graphite, again, it is a crystalline form of carbon. See, this is the pictures of graphite. It looks like so shiny, so shiny, so slippery, and black in color. And I hope that you remember, after looking at the pics of graphite, you might immediately come to know, okay, there's one thing in your compass box which you use as a stationery material for many things, to draw many things in your book. And I hope you're sure, I'm sure, okay, you have come to know okay, that is the pencil one. And it is looking like the lid of the pencil. These are the pictures of graphite. We can clearly see here graphite also have proper shape. So we can say the arrangement of molecules might be stiff, might be very close. It might have a covalent bond, single bond between the carbon-carbon compound, carbon-carbon element. Let's come to the points of graphites. So graphite is found in natural state in Russia, New Zealand, America, and India. In natural state. Now, natural, this I don't think this one is the purest one. This is the purest one, but it is not found exactly which is looking like here. So it is naturally found in the nature, that is under the earth, but not exactly like this. It might be somewhat dirty, or we have to process it and then make it very shiny like this. So in natural state, it is found in Russia, New Zealand, America, and our own India. India is also very resourceful. India is our country, India. It has many resources. So graphite is also one of them. The lead used in pencil is made by mixing graphite with clay. This process was discovered by Nicholas Jacques Conti in the year 1795. The lead which we use for pencil purpose, for writing purpose, pencil, using pencil. So we know the color of the lead. It is the same, grayish. So it is nothing but it is made up of graphite and clay. And this process, which process? This process in which the lead is made for writing purpose, for to be used in the pencil. This was discovered by Sir Nicholas Jacques Conti in the year 1795. 1795. At least 230 years ago. Okay. Let us move on to the structure of graphite. We have earlier seen structure of diamond. Likewise, we will see the structure of graphite. You should carry your textbook with you all so that you also can read at the same time whatever I am saying from here. No, so you should also pay attention in your textbook and try to correlate both of this. And because what will happen, it will be very useful for you to get the things clear. So now we have come to structure of graphite. Let us see about the structure of graphite. This is the structure of graphite. See how the carbon atoms are bonded to each other. They are forming a hexagonal shape. 6 carbon atoms are joined one to one by a single covalent bond. Single bond, covalent bond. 6 carbon atoms are joined one by one by a single covalent bond. This is the structure of graphite. Let's move on to the points. Okay. Every carbon atom in graphite is bonded to 3 other carbon atoms in such a way that a hexagonal layer structure is formed. You know hexagon? What is a hexagon? First, you must know this. Then only you will understand hexagonal shape. Hexagon means a geometrical figure which has 6 sides. Do you remember the beehives? Beehives, do you remember? Where the bees, all the honeybees, they gather the honey. That particular structure is also a hexagonal one. All the boxes, like all the boxes, they are made in that structure, hexagon structure. So in simple words, six-sided structure or figure is known as hexagon. So what happens? The three carbon atoms, every three carbon atoms in the graphite is bonded to three other carbon atoms in such a way that a hexagonal layer structure is formed. 3 and 3, they join together and makes a hexagon. And the structure or the shape now comes to appear like hexagon, and it is said hexagonal. A graphite crystal is made up of many sheets of layer of carbon atoms. A graphite crystal is made up of many sheets of layers of carbon atoms. One graphite crystal, it is made up of many sheets of layer, thin sheets, one over the other, one over the other. All they are made up of carbon atoms. So a single graphite crystal is made up of many sheets of layers of carbon atoms. These layers slip over each other. They are very slippery. If we hold those layers in our forefinger and between our forefinger and thumb, it will slip. Will feel like very soft one, and it will slip from our hand. So these layers slip over each other on applying pressure. Okay. One layer of graphite is called graphene. One layer of single layer of graphite is known as graphene. Clear with this? So this was the structure of graphite. It is a hexagonal structure because three carbon atoms, they are joined together by a single covalent bond to make it or to give it a hexagonal structure. And it is very slippery. All the layers which are arranged one over the other, they are very slippery. When we hold it between our forefinger and thumb, it slips. And a single layer of graphite is known as graphene. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Now the properties of graphite. We have done with the structure. Let us see the properties of graphite then. Graphite found, the first property is the graphite which is found in nature is black, soft, brittle, and slippery. We have seen the 2-3 pics of graphite. Was it not shining? It was shiny, as well as it was black. It was also soft and brittle. What is meant by brittle? Okay, if we are supposed to drop that graphite lump on the ground, it will break. So such things which breaks easily on falling to the ground, they are known to be brittle substances. Like glass is also brittle. A lump of earth is also brittle when it falls to the ground. So at the same time, it is slippery also. Inside each layer of graphite, free electrons move continuously within the entire layer. That is why graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Each layer, I told earlier to you, when the layers are arranged one over the other. So each layer of graphite, it consists of free electrons. Now free electrons means what? If any substance has free electron, then it will conduct electricity. That means electricity can pass through because it has moving electrons. And we have studied in current electricity in our fourth chapter, in our third chapter, the moving electrons, the substance which have moving electrons, that are the good conductors of electricity. So same case with graphite. Graphite has free electrons in the layers which are arranged one over the other, and in all the entire layers of graphite, whatever the amount, structure or volume of that particular graphite material, so all that layers they contains or consist of free electrons, and that is why graphite is known as a good conductor of electricity. Again, the third one is, due to the layered structure, graphite can be used for writing on paper. Due to the layered structure. Sometimes I hope you may have come across our normal pencils, not the very lead ones, like the pen ones. I'm not talking about that one. They are very, very thin, like a needle only. We are not talking about the needle pencil. The other one, the normal one, which we use. If you may have come across, so you could have observed when the pencil it breaks vertically, it forms the layer only. It forms the layer. When you try to break it with your nails, holding the pencil, you could come across layers. So due to layered structure of graphite, and that is the property. That is the property due to which you can write. You can use graphite for writing purpose on paper. Then the other one is the density of graphite. The thickness of graphite is 1.9 to 2.3 gram per centimeter cube. Okay. This was the density, which was the fourth point. And the next one again, fifth one is graphite does not dissolve in most solvents. Same case like diamond. Diamond also does not dissolve in most of the solvents, many of the solvents. And I told you the reason for that. Since diamond is the hardest substance, therefore it does not dissolve in any solvent. Solvent means water, any solution which is prepared with the help of any chemical. So that will be a solvent. And this solute and solvent, this topic we have studied in acid, bases, and this one, measurement of matter, chapter 4. So graphite also same. Graphite is also following diamond property only. In this case, it does not dissolve in most of the solvents. So these were the properties. I hope you have understood. Just go through your textbook. You will immediately get to learn each by heart if you will compare it from the textbook and these points. Okay. So after graphite, after the properties of graphite, let's move on to the uses of graphite. So the first use of graphite is our very own. Okay, graphite is used in pencils for writing. Here also, if you are asked, write the uses of graphite, you should immediately write the first one. Okay, graphite is used in pencils for writing. Directly, you will get 1 mark. If the 2 points are asked, you will get 1 mark for each. If the question is for 2 marks, sometimes it can be asked for 1 mark also. That is half mark for each point. So you can easily remember. Don't need to just go through your textbook or your notes. So the first point is it is used in pencil for writing. Second one is graphite is used in paints and polishes. Paints. The paints which we use in our house, for painting purpose, for coloring the walls. So graphite is used in it as well as the polish. Third one, graphite is used for making lubricants. Now, these lubricants, they are used in automobiles, like grease. Grease is a substance which are used to make the machines or to run the machines smoother. Yes, sometimes if there's a problem of rusting and all, or if that particular rust get collected on that iron part, so these lubricants or this grease can be used for making or working them smoother. So graphite is used in lubricants also. Fourth one, graphite is used in arc lamps, which gives a very bright light. Graphite is used in arc lamps. These arc lamps also, they can say it as the street lights. They are arc lamps and they are used to give a very bright light. And the fifth one is graphite is used for making carbon electrodes. Now this word, the carbon electrodes, they are actually they are some type of material which are used in the laboratory for carrying out various chemical reactions, various experiments in the chemistry lab or in the science lab. So last one was, again I will repeat for you, graphite is used for making carbon electrodes. I hope you have understood the uses of graphite as well. So after this, fullerene. The next crystalline form of carbon is the fullerene. Look at fullerene. How does it appear? See the arrangement of carbon atoms. Again, it is having a hexagonal shape. Yes, it does have a hexagonal shape. See all those blue dots, they are carbon atoms. And those red and those yellow ones, they are the bond, covalent bond, single bond. So this is the structure of fullerene. This is the structure of fullerene. And let's now move on about the occurrence and the discovery of fullerene. So fullerene is rarely found in nature. It is found in soot and interstellar spaces. Pay attention here, interstellar spaces. A new word and a good word to be get it known. So soot means the smoke. Soot means the black powder. The black powder which is found in the atmosphere whenever whenever there is a which comes or which is released into the air after the burning of different kinds of materials. And interstellar spaces means the space between the stars. Interstellar space. The first example of fullerene is Buckminster fullerene, C60. The first example of fullerene is Buckminster fullerene, C60. It is named after the architect Richard Buckminster Fuller because the structure resembles a dome which he designed. See, most of the time the names of the compound, the names of the units, they are given after the name of the scientist, physicist, chemist, whatever, if they have worked on it. But in this case, the name which is appearing here, the name of the architect, that is an engineer, Richard Buckminster Fuller. This is the name. ये नाम है. So this architect has designed a historical structure which was having a dome shape. Dome means what? Which a mosque have. Like many of the medieval period monuments were having. So that particular structure, which was designed by architect Richard Buckminster Fuller, it was having a dome shape, and The fullerene which was discovered, it was having also the same shape. See, the rounded shape it is having. So that's why the fullerene, the which was discovered, it was given the name of that architect Buckminster Fullerene, and it was C60. Harold Kroto, Robert Kerr, and Richard Smalley were awarded Nobel Prize in the year 1996 for the discovery of fullerene C60. Remember the name: Harold Kroto, Robert Kerr, and Richard Smalley. They were awarded with the prestigious Nobel Prize, one of the greatest and the biggest award in the field of science, literature, Nobel Prize in the year 1996 for discovery of fullerene C60. This year also many of the scientists have been awarded for physics Nobel Prize. Just go to Google and ask for it, the Nobel Prize winner in science field for the year 2021. You could get some more names also. It will help you to keep your knowledge updated. So these three persons, they were awarded with the Nobel Prize in the year 1996 for the discovery of fullerene C60. The other forms of fullerene are C60, C70, C76, C82, and C86. These are also examples of fullerene. Their molecules occur in small number in nature. Okay, the molecules of C60, C70, C76, C82, and C86. They are also other example of fullerene, but their molecules occur in very small number in nature. So I hope you understood about the fullerene. So in this way, we have today completed two parts of crystalline carbon, crystalline form of free state carbon, that was graphite, and this one is the fullerene. And earlier one, in the earlier lecture, we have completed with diamond. So in short, I would like to tell you, okay, the free state of carbon has two forms, crystalline and non-crystalline. So the crystalline form is diamond, graphite, and fullerene. We have ended up with the crystalline form. Okay. Now we have come to the properties of fullerene. Molecules of the first property of fullerene is molecules of fullerene are found in the form of buckyballs and buckytubes, hollow balls and hollow tubes. There are 30 to 900 carbon atoms in one molecule of fullerene. In a single molecule of fullerene, there are about 30 to 900 carbon atoms in one molecule of fullerene. Fullerene are soluble in organic solvents such as carbon disulfide and chlorobenzene. This crystalline form of carbon, that is fullerene, the third one, it is soluble. Whereas graphite and diamond, they are not soluble in any solvent. But fullerene is soluble in organic solvents such as carbon disulfide and chlorobenzene. So this is the distinct property of fullerene, though it is a crystalline form, but still it is soluble in organic solvents such as carbon disulfide and chlorobenzene. Okay, do remember this, please. Then the next one is the uses of fullerene. First one is fullerenes are used as insulators. Insulators means on wires so that we can get protection from electric current. So insulation is for that purpose only. Then the second one, fullerenes are used as catalyst in water purification. In water purification, fullerenes are used as catalyst. Now, catalyst is also a new word for you, or you might have come across it in 8th standard. So, catalyst is a substance which which helps to um, slow down the rate of chemical reaction. Catalyst. Then third one, at a certain temperature, fullerene exhibits superconductivity. That means it does have free electrons, and at certain temperature, at certain specific temperatures, fullerene exhibits superconductivity. That means it is a good conductor of electricity. So these were the structure, properties, and uses of fullerene. Now we have come to the end part, that is the evaluation part. Let's see what I have framed for your evaluation today. Now there are 3 fill in the blanks. Then answer shortly. So the first fill in the blanks are like, the first one is, the lead which is used in pencil is made by mixing graphite and clay. Second one, every carbon atom is in graphite is bonded to dash carbon atoms. To make a hexagonal structure, 3 carbon atoms. Third one layer of graphite is called graphene. Fourth one, the allotrope fullerene is named after the architect Richard Buckminster Fuller. Okay, then question number 2, answer shortly. Say the uses and properties of graphite. Uses of graphite is it is used for writing purpose. It is used in paints and polishes. Then the properties, it is having a hexagonal structure, and it forms a covalent bond, and it is a good conductor of electricity. Then second one, the uses of fullerene. Fullerene is used, just now we have seen, fullerenes are used in buckytubes and buckyball. Buckytubes and buckyball. Fullerenes are also used as insulators. So these were some of the uses of fullerenes. So I hope you have understood the lesson, and as well as the evaluation part also. And I hope you will revise it once again and get yourself updated with today's lecture. So till then, we will stop here only. And in this way, today we have completed the crystalline form of carbons, that is the diamond, graphite, and fullerene. And in the next lecture, we will be seeing. Have a good day and happy learning. Stay home, stay safe, and goodbye. Okay, Supriya teacher. Hello, Supriya teacher.